Have you made those mistakes on your CV? Do you need to go and fix your CV right now? Hello butterflies, we're getting ready with me today. I'm gonna transform this face, and in the meantime, we're gonna talk about some common mistakes that I see on CVs in the UK that you should definitely avoid. Just to give you an idea of my experience, I've been a recruiter for a few years, and I worked as a career consultant in a university in the UK for a few years as well. I have seen a lot of CVs and a lot of these mistakes very, very, very often. One of the first things that I see is the picture on your CV. Please stop putting pictures on your CV. They don't need to be there. But honestly, in the UK, it's really not accepted as a practice for you to do that. My recommendation would definitely be to stay away from that. The next one that I see less and less nowadays, but I still see sometimes, is date of birth. Date of birth, again, just like the picture, we really want to stay away from it just so that we can reduce the risk for discrimination. The other one that I see very often is the address. Sometimes the address can be something that is useful if you're applying locally. So if you're applying for a job in the neighborhood, and that way it can be a benefit that you're living locally, then that will be okay to keep it. So just to protect yourself, don't put the full address. Include the general area that you are in rather than your exact address. You just don't want any creeps to know your exact address. I don't think so. Another thing that I see, especially as a recruiter, I used to hate that. Personal profile needs to be really, really clear. What goes into the personal profile? I very often see a lot of mistakes with that. And the main mistakes that I see have to do with just talking what I've achieved in my previous jobs and so on, and like long stories and whole big paragraphs. It honestly doesn't need to be long at all. Be 3 to 5 sentences, which are going to be around where you're coming from, like, and what have you been doing? If you're a recent graduate, what was your degree? Especially if you're applying in the industry that you've studied in, if you're applying for the same sector. If you've done any jobs that are relevant, or if you're a bit more experienced, or if you're a career changer. What have you done that is like relevant for this role? And then what are you looking for? It makes such a big difference if you just put what are you looking for, and obviously update that with every job that you apply for. I really hope that should be quite straightforward. Make sure that you include what are the areas that you're looking for, what are the jobs that you're looking for. You can make the life of the recruiter easier. What I'm going to do as a recruiter, I'm going to scan and I'm going to see that it says that you're looking for HR positions, for example. And if I'm hiring for HR positions, then straight away I know that this is a CV that I should be looking deeper in, because it's at the right level, is the kind of thing that I'm looking for as well to hire, so it just makes sense. Another section that I commonly see mistaken or not done well, and that is with a lot of CVs, to be honest with you. I very rarely see a CV that has it right, is the experience section and your bullet points in the experience section, and more particularly that that's a list of activities you did rather than that being information where you evidence what your achievements are. What do I mean by that? If you have used to work on the till, that is an activity, and it doesn't really tell me how good you are with working on the till. And that's, of course, a great opportunity for you to use some transferable skills here, to include some transferable skills so that I actually know what you achieved in that role and how relevant that was. What you could say instead is served 30 to 50 people per day or per hour, or whatever that might be. Straight away I know that you worked in high volume and you bring numbers in, which is great stuff. And then resolved difficult issues or whatever that might be that you've done through using persuasion techniques or whatever you can come up with. Obviously what exactly that is for you and what is relevant, as in what has that achieved for the business, maybe resulting in 7,000 sales through my till that day, maybe, or something along those lines. Whatever it is that is relevant for you in the role that you're applying for, that is what you're going to include. And obviously I'm just giving you a very simple example now. Another section that I would recommend to update if you don't have it good already is the key skills section. And key skills, especially for those of you who are looking for more technical roles or STEM focused roles, or something where they really require hard skills, you want to make sure that you don't miss out on listing those. But even if you are working in a softer role, but where you maybe use some softwares, or in your industry, for example, for law students, LexisNexis is a database that they should know how to use. So if I don't see that on your CV, then I'm a bit concerned that you don't know the software and that you're not familiar with it. Those are very simple things that in your CV that you shouldn't miss out to include, especially because your CVs are now going to be scanned for keywords if they match a job, especially if that particular skill is already on the JD and you don't include it, you're missing out to match the criteria better. One of the final things that I wanted to mention was the references available upon request that everyone smacks at the end of their CV. Is there any value of that being there at all? Most of the time the answer is no. My recommendation is just save that space, add a bit of value to your CV somehow. When you include maybe a bullet point that talks about your achievements, that is going to have a lot more value than including references available upon request. For those of you who are curious, here's the finished face. I added a bit of a eyeliner with eyeshadows and then a bit of eyeshadow and a lip. I hope that this has been useful, and let me know down in the comments below, have you made those mistakes on your CV? Do you need to go and fix your CV right now? I'll see you soon.